All right. Welcome, Ascension Ground Crew. Are we ready for our check-in?
I think so.
Yes.
Yeah. Who wants to go first today? Who wants to talk first about what's going on this week? Go,
I'm
Myrna.
willing to kick it off and start. Sure. Well, I'm excited. This is our first Ascension Ground Crew meeting. And it's kind of funny. We sort of have been doing this in the background for the better part of a year, and now we're being deliberate about it. So there's a little bit of formality to it that there wasn't before. I can say the orientation I have about Ascension is just from yoga philosophy about the end of Kali Yuga. And, we have 25,000 year cycles, and we're in one of those rising cycles and part of whatever the divine plan is. But in our topics behind the scenes, in our little chats that we have, we notice things. And so, one of the things I've noticed in this past 2 weeks is random fevers in the middle of the night. And I'm not sick per se, but my whole body is hot for no reason, and kind of the disrupted sleep that comes with that. But I think one of the other things that's happening that's more along the lines of spiritual evolution or soul development, beyond personal development, is every once in a while I hear something and it bangs like a gong inside of me. And I have this moment of spontaneous realization and a perspective shift. And I used to have to work in meditation to get those. Like I would chase them, and now they just drop in on me. So it's become sort of an organic process. And I want to share how this happened with a conversation with Brian that I had as we were planning some challenge videos for a life designed. He said, Mom, at the end of the day, why are we doing what we're doing? He said, good is good. And then that just rang like a bell inside of me for 2 days. Good is good. And I'm having these experiences with clients and, people we're interviewing on the channel and so on. And I have a really good meeting. And I don't have an attachment about necessarily what happens after the meeting. Like I'm not necessarily in a closing process or now let's matriculate through my process cycle. It's like this was really good. We really connected. This was very positive, and good is enough. Good is good. So I think one of the things we're going to encourage, and then I'll stop my update, is we want people to have somebody else to reflect with about what's going on for them. We've had the benefit of reflecting with each other, and we were feeling maybe a little selfish about that. Maybe we could let other people reflect with us too, because it's beginning to happen for lots of people. And so, people are navigating things in their own unique ways about changes they see and feel, new perspective shifts they're having. And it's exciting. It can be disruptive, but I'm happy that we're kind of pulling the curtain back on what our experience is.
I think it's hard to determine what's an ascension symptom and what's not, right? I mean, I've been having to drink a lot of water, but it's also
Yes,
August in Texas, okay?
yes.
So it's also just extra hot. It's not like I'm going outside into the heat all the time because that's why they invented air conditioning if you have to live in Texas in the summer in the South. But I have been drinking a lot of water, so I'm wondering, can we blame that on ascension sickness? I don't know,
I,
but
I,
I heard
I've
that
heard this,
somewhere.
some people are saying they've doubled their water. They don't know why.
Hmm.
Mhm.
Yeah. So what about you, Brian? Are you having any ascension symptoms too?
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, I definitely think there's a shift in the collective. I do think people are getting more spiritual and in different ways. Like I'm suddenly becoming way more Christian, like out of nowhere. And I think a lot of people are going through these kinds of things. Like, so for example, I mentioned this, I think in one of the ALDPL videos. So I did start praying to hear God's voice. And eventually I did kind of start hearing that. And so I was telling people, you can try doing that. and you may get something. Um, and I've noticed other people are actually having similar experiences. Like I told my mom this one time when I was riding the bike, the motorbike. I just heard a voice, just a loud voice, and it said, "This is Acts." Like meaning like the book from the Bible, like this is Acts.
Oh,
And it's crazy because I just saw a video of a guy who said he heard the same thing recently. He heard a voice tell him, "This is Acts."
yeah.
So in Acts is kind of the meaning that was communicated there is Acts is a time when sort of like God or the Holy Spirit just went down into a bunch of people and it basically made them act. Like they started preaching, they started doing different things, they started having visions or dreams. Like it just like activated a bunch of people and then they acted out of that. And so that was like the meaning that came to me.
Mhm.
But yeah, I mean, I think I don't know. One thing that I think is an ascension symptom is I notice for a while now, and I think other people are also going through this. There's certain things that I'm just done with. I'm just done. Like, and it's like, well, but Brian, what if that doesn't work out? It's like, well, then I'll just die. I don't care. Like, I'm just done. Like, there's this thing of I'm just not gonna live that way anymore. Don't care. I'm gonna do my own thing. Don't care.
Mhm.
I'm not gonna like keep going through these endless dumb cycles of negative things. No, don't care. So I think people are also going through that. It's like the polarization, it's like your consciousness shifts over to one side more to where you're at the point you're just like, nope, not for me.
Mhm.
It's you just end up going one direction. So um definitely have experienced that. And yeah, I mean, when I do muscle testing, I've been muscle testing and I calibrate the average level of humanity. I've been calibrating that it's going up
Mhm.
bit by bit. So to me, that indicates ascension.
Mhm.
And it seems to be in general accelerating. I mean, there can be like little dips, but in general, it's going up.
Mhm.
Um, so I kind of think the more that happens, it forces truth to come out. It forces integrity to be in people. It kind of forces people to become more positive. And I think people are sort of going through that. People might feel sort of negative ways they used to be kind of getting forced out of them. You just feel like you just can't do that anymore.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, so that's the stuff that I've been noticing. So
Some of the things you're talking about are more like ascension signs. And wouldn't it be better if we use that term? I mean, I know I'm being sounding very Pollyanna here, but what if we just flip the words around? Symptoms sounds like you're sick and you've got like you're a
mhm.
victim of ascension. And I'm like, nah, no, how about it's just an ascension sign versus an ascension
Yeah,
symptom? So it sounds
yeah,
like some of the things you're talking about are signs. I feel like signs and synchronicities it's been a huge part of my life. Like all my life, I've thrilled
mhm.
with seeing signs and synchronicities.
Yeah,
So yeah,
yeah,
yeah. Well, for me this week, I think the biggest breakthrough or biggest like cool thing was talking to my daughter who is she's not into angels like I am. She's not into it's not that she doesn't have the spirituality, but it's just be a good person, be moral, that sort of thing. And she does have such a great, huge, big old light around her all the time. But I was telling her, I said, I think I'm ready just to come out of the spiritual closet and talk about, the fact that I've been communicating with angels for almost 20 years now, and so forth. And she's like, that would be a great segment. You should do videos on that. And I'm like, really? That's really coming out of the spiritual closet. That's not just saying, I have an angel message every Monday morning. This is Oh my gosh, talking about my spiritual journey and my mystical experiences and my skepticism through the years and being raised by a woman who my mother was is a psychic. So like being like these experiences and encounters that I've had, just I should say, adjacent to her
Mhm.
because of her, the things I've witnessed and the skepticism I had and well, mostly just not wanting to do it because it kind of is freaky. And there's so much stigma that was surrounding it where I grew up in the New Orleans area. I mean, it's a weird place. They really do like voodoo and occultism and
Mhm.
all of that happens, but also
Yeah.
it's very Catholic and very, there's very religious. It's a weird place. I grew up in a weird place with these very big dichotomy of beliefs. Not to mention just studying history and seeing all of the crazy stuff that people did to torture people who were different. I mean, it wasn't just burn them at the stake. It was put them on a rack and stretch them and pull their fingernails out and do gruesome things to torture people to get them to confess and to believe in the church and confess that they were doing witchy things and stuff. So I mean, just reading that terrorized me when I was in school, and studying history. So for me, I think the biggest thing from this happening for me this week, as I do this, is just having the courage to just be real, just to say my truth and
Mhm.
just walk and share. And I don't feel like I need to teach people, but I feel like I want to share it because I think other people are going through this, just like you're saying, Brian. They're getting that feeling. And Myrna, you're talking about the ascension signs or symptoms, right? And I mean, I think we just want to have a forum to talk about that. And that's why we wanted to make
Mhm.
our private conversations more public so that people, if they wanted to make comments and say, yeah, this is what's weird going on for me, or this is weird but not weird so more anymore because it's becoming more normal and regular, and so maybe it's not weird. So that's kind of where I am right now, feeling filled with new levels of courage that I never quite had before. Yeah.
Yes, I love that. And that's part of it too. People are getting more courageous to share these experiences. And that's one thing that I've said before as well is like, I said somewhere on one of the roundtables or something. Like, I do think most people have had spiritual experiences,
Hmm.
but it was this thing where everyone was in the closet. It was like the culture looked down on it. Oh, you're crazy. Oh, we don't talk about that. So
Hmm.
everyone just kind of like suppressed it.
Yeah.
And I do notice there's a lot less stigma around these topics now.
Yeah.
It definitely is coming out to where people can just talk about this stuff a lot more freely now.
Hmm.
And people aren't jumping to, oh, you're crazy like they used to. People are like listening more, like, okay, that's your opinion. Or maybe they kind of resonate with it more now than they used to. Like, they're more like, I could kind of see that. I've had something kind of similar, maybe not that, but something. Um, it's definitely getting more open now.
Yeah.
The social landscape, like the conversational, you know, terrain is just getting more open now. People can explore it more. It's not so many like steel doors slamming down to where you can't go here, you can't go there. Um, yeah, I think that's a huge part of ascension and awakening is like we have to talk about it.
Yeah.
Like, spread this information. And I do think it's very healing to express parts of yourself that you never did before.
Hmm.
There's a big sense of relief. There's a big sense of like, I feel healed by that. I feel like I can relax now because it takes a certain amount of energy to always hide something about yourself.
Yeah.
And then you can finally just be like, oh, no, it's cool. Like I can just talk.
Yeah.
So,
No, and I'm with you, and I want this to be a safe place for our community. And
yes.
you mentioned Jesus and Christianity. I mean, that Jesus was the most ecumenical of all, right? And we are
Yeah.
too. I've got
Yeah. Yeah.
the Lady of Guadalupe over my desk. I'm looking at her right now, and so I'm very
Nice.
much feeling guided by Mother Mary all the time. I've got
Yeah.
the candle
Good.
behind me, and I've got that above me.
Yeah.
So I just feel like this is a place for every belief, right?
Of course, yeah,
Or as long as it's of love and light and we are,
right,
no harm and for the betterment of all, we're all for it. Let's talk about
exactly.
it. Yeah. What about you,
Yeah,
Mark?
yeah,
Any other
yeah.
thoughts you might have, Myrna?
Yeah, I think to kind of put a pin in it for our first meeting, my sense of it is to be able to speak freely, to not speak looking for guidance or conclusions, but just to relate what's happening. Like you say, it's a check-in, it's kind of an update. And that's not an invitation to tell me that I'm doing it right or doing it wrong or but I can say that any number, I'm mostly involved in my work with people in workplace issues or careers or they're running a business. And a number of people in the last 2 years, Brian and I have discussed this a lot with our work that we've done together, have come to a similar point that he described. Yeah, I'm not doing that anymore. Yeah, I now don't care what other people think of me, but I'm not doing that anymore.
Yeah.
And people are terminating marriages, selling businesses, striking out on their own, not putting up with their boss's crap anymore, taking a chance. So, and they arrived at a place they weren't expecting to arrive at. And then because we know so many coaches, a coach is one of the places you could say, well, I'm going to make this pivot. I don't know why I have to do it.
Mhm.
Or I know I can't not. I have to try it. And so here I am. What do you think my next step is? So I think COVID delivered some of that. I also think that we know when someone has passed away, people check in on their own mortality. And we had a lot of death and disturbance, excuse me, from the pandemic. So I think that was part of the population general wake up call. Like, what does it all mean? And they've been reminded to maybe ask that question.
Right,
Yeah,
right.
that's it for me.
My daughter went to a conference shortly after the whole COVID. Everyone kind of come back to meeting and going back into the collective to be with each other again. And she heard a senior level leader at one of the companies who was presenting the keynote. And that person came up with, she said, I know we talked a lot about the Great Resignation during 2020, but actually, she said, I would rather call it the Great Contemplation. And I thought that was brilliant because I feel like we've been in a great contemplation ever since. It hasn't
Yeah.
stopped. It's still going on,
Yes.
right? So we really wanted to, of course, we're launching this initiative to come to again have a safe community where we can talk about these things and share what we're going through together. Yes, I feel like we're crew leaders, but we're the Ascension Ground Crew, all of us together. And so anyone who resonates with this, who wants to join in, who wants to comment, who wants to be part of the community, we certainly invite your voice, your points of view, your energy. Come be with us because we've got a lot of work to do, but it's awesome work. It's a cool mission.
Yes.
And so we're all pretty excited about it. We're going to check in with each other every week. We're going to do this on a weekly basis.
Yes.
So, yay. All right. Well, thank you guys for showing up for our very first one. And we look forward to seeing you next week. All
All
right.
right. Sounds good.
Be well.